This is so funny.
So this is groundbreaking news that I have no idea why nobody's reporting on it. Why is nobody talking about all of the Europe nationwide power outages that are happening right now? This is spanning across Spain. This is spanning across Portugal, southern parts of France. It is a complete blackout in those nations. And this is according to the latest news and breaking headlines. And the report said the outage, described by experts as absolutely exceptional, was triggered by a rare atmospheric phenomenon causing significant oscillations in high voltage power lines. This led to the disconnection of Spain's grid from the broader European network, resulting in widespread power failures across the Iberian Peninsula. Madrid, Barcelona, Seville, all experiencing complete blackouts. You have thousands of people at the train stations, unable to go anywhere because those have completely gone down. They are even being forced to use cash because no electronic payments are accessible right now. Transportation systems, metro lines and trains, traffic lights, everything has stopped functioning. There are even reports that airports have been disrupted with flight delays and passengers being stranded. Portugal is even facing similar challenges. The Lisbon Metro and other train services have been suspended, and mobile networks are experiencing significant limitations. They are even saying that cell service is coming down. What could this phenomenon that happened in the atmosphere, that's what they're reporting, what was that? To affect over 4 huge nations in the East. That's all we know for now. As soon as I get an update, I'll make sure to update you guys.
To give you the exact words as they put out, they said due to extreme temperature variations in the interior of Spain, there were, and this is the key bit, anomalous oscillations in the very high voltage lines, a phenomenon known as induced atmospheric vibration. But if you look at the temperature in Spain, it's the mid-20s.
Predicted that April 30th, 2025 is the day everything comes to a stop. A simple coincidence or a warning we shouldn't ignore. In a long-forgotten episode from 1998 titled The Last Day of Springfield, a massive blackout throws the entire city into darkness. No lights, no cars. The city is completely frozen. Even Homer's nuclear power plant shuts down. Just before everything cuts out, a digital calendar flashes one last time. April 30th. Professor Frink runs around screaming and flailing his arms. It's the end, while Kent Brockman stares straight into the camera with a chilling smile, back to the Stone Age. But it doesn't stop there. In a 2013 episode, Mr. Burns drops an eerie line. The end of energy has already been scheduled. Too many coincidences? Hold on. In a 2007 episode, Lisa holds a book titled The Last Day of Civilization, and on the cover, the date, April 30th, 2025. A global blackout, a full collapse of the internet, or maybe something even worse. Subscribe to learn more.
Today, parts of Europe went dark, and not just for a few minutes. A massive power outage hit Spain, Portugal, and parts of France, shutting down airports, train networks, banks, hospitals, and even the Madrid Open tennis tournament. Millions were stranded, traffic lights failed, ATMs went dark, and in Murcia, Spain, a 92-year-old woman sat outside her apartment, waiting for the power to return so she could use the elevator. Major cities like Madrid, Lisbon, Barcelona, Seville, and Valencia were brought to a standstill. This time, it was not a cyber attack. Officials say the cause was extreme temperature swings in Spain, triggering rare atmospheric vibrations that disrupted Europe's very high voltage transmission lines, the backbone of the grid. But here is the reality. When grids are overloaded and aging, even rare events can take them down. And yes, cyber risks are still real, especially when systems are already stretched thin. Even Spain's nuclear reactors automatically shut down and switched to backup generators, just like they were designed to, because the grid could not stabilize fast enough. Meanwhile, France rushed in emergency electricity to help Spain, and Ukraine offered to assist with restoring the grid. A reminder that even Europe's power network is interdependent when stress hits. The bottom line? Europe's blackout is not some far-off problem. It is a warning shot. If we do not upgrade, defend and expand our grids, blackouts like this will not stay overseas. Follow at Loading Infra for real facts behind power, resilience and the infrastructure shaping our future.
So what then is this rare atmospheric phenomenon which is thought to have caused the outage? Our science correspondent Martin Stew is here to explain. So go on then, what is it?
Well, Mary, it's all a bit of a mystery. We've only heard so far from Portugal's grid operator. They blame, as you said, this rare atmospheric phenomenon. They say it's extreme temperature variations which caused, I quote, anomalous oscillations in the very high voltage lines, also known as induced atmospheric vibrations.
Right, so that's clear then.
Which begs the question, what on earth does that mean? Well, look, in certain rapidly changing weather conditions, what you can see is the air around power lines gets warm and damp and windy, and you can physically sometimes see wires gallop, like you can see in Winnipeg here in America. It's not actually the physical movement that's the bigger problem. The main issue is if the ionized air around those cables interacts with the cable itself, it can change the electricity inside the wire. And as that frequency changes, it becomes different to the rest of the grid. And if that difference gets too great, the system has to shut down for safety reasons. What's unusual here is normally a bit like if the trip switch goes in your bathroom, the light stays on in the kitchen, a small section should have turned off. It seems to have wiped out the whole grid. There'll be lots of questions about that. And then what is really, really weird, in the words of an expert I spoke to, is if you look at Spain's weather forecast. Here is the weather today. Classic springtime temperatures, sunny, light winds. These are not the conditions that should be causing induced atmospheric vibrations. Now, we are yet to hear from the Spanish grid provider. Hopefully they can throw some light. Until then, we are as much in the dark, to be honest, as those people who are without power tonight.
What happens if the UK has a full electrical blackout? Well, the immediate effects, minutes to the first hour, the lights go out everywhere. Homes, businesses, streets, hospitals. Transport stops. Electronic trains, like the London Underground, just stop. There'll be no traffic lights, so even trains and cars cannot make their way around. The roads will be chaos. Mobile networks go down. Obviously, you think you've got Wi-Fi, that's down, I can use 3G. No, sorry, 3G needs electric too. These usually have backup generators, backup power, but again, that's not going to last forever, maybe a few hours. Cash machines and card readers aren't working. There's no way to make electronic payments. There's no way to get your cash out of the machines. And let's face it, supermarkets, are they prepared for that? Because supermarkets use electronic till systems. Water supplies could start degrading quickly because electronics pump stations for the water supply. The short-term effects, the first few hours, the emergency services switch to backup power, but that might be overwhelmed. Don't forget, everything has just gone out like that. So there'll be a lot of crashes. There'll be a lot of people needing medical attention. Hospitals use their generators, but these have got a limited fuel supply. So you're talking 24 hours, 72 hours of fuel before they need refueling. Food shops and petrol stations would close down. Apparently in the UK, our petrol stations don't have backup generators. They don't have backup fuel. Airports and normal seaports, they would stop operations. All flights would be grounded. People's phones are running out of battery. Communication is just becoming harder. And at this point as well, don't forget the water stations, the pumping stations don't have any power. So big cities could start losing water pressure. You're also going to start getting panic buying at this point. Fuel shortages, water shortages, that sort of stuff. Heating would fail in the houses as well. At this point, you're really starting to run out of everything. So now we're talking longer term, several days. At this point, the food supply chain absolutely collapses. There's no refrigeration process, there's no transport. All the food that's in the pipeline just starts to rot. There's absolutely, it's not only the fact that you can't buy it, it's you can't get it, you can't keep it fresh or anything. And like I said, at this point, hospitals are running massively low on power. Their generators are ran by fuel with a 24 to 72 hour fuel supply. So when you get past 72 hours, they're going to need refueling. This is going to lead to excess deaths, especially amongst vulnerable patients. And the food chain's getting more of a hit as well. So you've got farms that are likely to start losing livestock because they can't tend to them properly. And at this point, the government would have to declare a national emergency. If they hadn't already, The army will be coming onto the streets, which is already happening in Spain, France and Portugal as we speak.
Like, what is going on? It's still dark, pitch dark. That.
Es que no sé a quién dirigirme.
The EU has issued a continent-wide warning, urging all 450 million citizens to stockpile emergency supplies: food, water, medication, power banks, radios, and flashlights. Enough for 72 hours without access to basic services. It's part of a sweeping 30-point preparedness plan released this week. Officials cite rising threats: war, cyber attacks, pandemics, and natural disasters. But no specific event triggered it. Just a noticeable shift in tone. The warning lands as serious global concerns continue building. Campi Flegrei, Italy's supervolcano, remains unstable. Santorini has recorded thousands of earthquakes in the last 5 weeks, signaling rising volcanic tension. Tsunami risk models across southern Europe are under fresh review. Near-Earth asteroid alerts are now routine, and high-level briefings on non-human encounters continue to surface with little explanation. Germany and Sweden have already launched national campaigns urging citizens to prepare. Others are expected to follow. The EU is also setting up crisis hubs and pushing to secure critical infrastructure. Officials insist this isn't fear-based, but the pattern is familiar, and the silence around timing raises questions. People are being told to get ready. What they're being prepared for isn't being spelled out. Stay alert. Don't wait to be told twice.
So this is the situation in Aldi, guys. There's queues bigger than Alton Towers in peak season. There's nothing left to buy. Everything has completely sold out. This is unbelievable. Oh my God. The shelves are empty. Broccoli. Do you want a broccoli to eat raw? Go for that. Absolutely no fruit. A couple of apples, that is it. Lots of plants, if you want a plant. Bet you there's no toilet paper. That's the first to go, isn't it? Let's have a look, shall we? Plenty of baking stuff, because of course, what are you going to bake? Look at the queues. They're right the way up the aisles. Look at that. Plenty of beer, if you want beer. Let's see the toilet paper, I'm curious. We don't need any. Ooh, it's going low, but there is some there. Yeah, a couple. They're down to the almost at the end of the pallet, but Get here quick, guys. You can get yourself some toilet paper. Wonder how the water situation is. Do you know what? I don't even know what I'm doing because there's no way I'm queuing up. I just wanted to get some crackers to go with my cheese, but forget it. I'll just eat the cheese with no crackers. Okay, bye.
The widespread power outages in some nations in Europe is one of those things that we all said were conspiracy theories. It's now become a conspiracy fact. There is a very good reason why there's been so much push towards electronics and electronic devices, contactless methods of payment, electric cars in the last decade. Because when things like this happen, when the power grid goes down, the world stands still. Imagine if you have an electric car and it's not charged. You can't leave. You're walking to wherever your destination is. In this recent turn of events, people had to get off trains and tubes. The tubes couldn't even run. Remember, a lot of our buses, especially in London, are run on electricity. You're not going anywhere. You're stuck. In Spain and Portugal, wherever these power cuts happened, people were rushing to ATMs to pull cash out in a panic. But guess what? The ATMs are run on electricity, aren't they? So people can't even withdraw cash to buy food or make simple transactions. Many believe that the recent power cuts in Europe is just simply a trial run, okay? A trial run of something bigger to come, a mass experiment. When they pull the power grids down, a mass method of control. And it's not just going to be specific to Europe the next time it happens. It will happen globally. The quickest way to control a population is to limit their freedom to travel, limit their freedom to spend money and make simple everyday transactions, and to stop them from communicating with one another. Unless you're expecting this and are adequately prepared for this, all of these things will happen when the power grid goes down.
Major power outage has hit parts of Spain and Portugal, with reports that parts of France were also affected. It hit transport, including trains, mobile phone networks, and the Madrid...
So, a rare atmospheric phenomenon has caused a massive power outage in Europe, Spain, Portugal, France. Now, I just want to show you something, and I definitely don't want to get all conspiracy. Do you remember the video I did on this? Emergency kits, what the EU recommends we prepare for. The 3rd of April 2025. As you can see down there, it says urges households to prepare a 72-hour emergency kit including food, water, medicines and basic supplies. Why? Who randomly just comes up with an idea that you need an emergency fucking bag? There's no Wi-Fi, shops weren't taking fucking contactless payments, but the whole globe wants to go fucking contactless, get rid of cash, and things like this keep happening. I just find it a little bit... I've been watching videos. I know some people are out there personally. It's affected transport, flights, everything. Some people are enjoying it because they've got to finish at work early and stuff, having a few beers in the sun and stuff, which I think you need to be looking into this a little bit more than the letting on a fucking rare atmospheric. Are you taking the piss? Is it just me? I don't want to go down a hole of... Well, it could be. I find it very bizarre. But yeah, we put too much faith in technology, contactless and all this bullshit. Madness.